Hello, Mark. I would like to get back to that topic of typography variables within the AG-Grid library. So what I have here is AG-Grid library, the most recent version I have downloaded. And there are still no styles, yep, and there are no typography variables. The thing is that it would still be very beneficial for your users to have that access, right, in order to replace fonts and such. So I have been working hard the recent weeks to ship another plugin which might help you accomplish just that. And this is why I am actually recording this video to suggest to you to use my plugin and to update the AG Grid library to use text styles and variables. And let me show you what I mean, because the effort for you on your side must be a minimal one in comparison to manual work. So currently the plugin will analyze the document, and this might take up to, according to my measurements, 3 or 4 minutes until it is done, because the library file includes more than 20,000 text nodes. So as long as the plugin is working now, I'm gonna make a coffee and we'll be right back there with you. And oh yeah, there we see the pages being processed already. Alrighty, great. There we go. So, as we can see, right now we have the result of our analysis of our AG Grid document in front of us. And these are all the typography variations which have been found, the different font families, some external styles as well. Good. One thing we see on top here that we have some scaled nodes, and those indeed have a Figma bug, which I would like to demonstrate to you really quickly. So imagine we have a text style, and this text style, I don't know, let's call it test, right? Oh, test is actually sympathetical. And now let us take a font size, create this style. So we have this text style, and now see what happens with one of these, of the scaled nodes. Here it is. And if we now want to apply our text style, there is a Figma bug which would take this scaled instance of the node and apply that font size in a scaled way to it. So this is literally nothing we can change for now. Therefore, the plugin will gracefully ignore this 19 of 20,000 plus nodes. And yeah, just to check on where they are, we can jump through them. But that is basically it, what it is telling us about. And this warning is just informing us about graceful handling. Apart from that, we also see that there are some external styles in this document, and we can decide what to do with them. So let us check out. We have some external styles for the charts, apparently. Yep, and we also see it is called charts roboto. So what we can do is we can either merge them into the current document, or we can try to merge some of the styles we have in our document to these external ones. This means if they share the same typography properties as these external styles, then those nodes will be merged to use exactly these ones. For now, for the demo purposes, let us just say that we merge the external styles into the local document and proceed. Okay, and now let us take a look at the actual typography system which we are about to apply to the document. So, what we can see here are all the variations of text nodes and their properties which the plugin has found in the document. Now, if we see some similar ones, for example, this 48 pixel bold and another 48 pixel bold, then we can simply click on this and see why they are two distinct generated text styles. For example, here we have some set values, while the 48 pixels bold down here just has default values. And that counts for every style. You can compare them with one another and simply see what their exact differences are. And then, of course, this can be the foundation for you to decide whether you want to keep them as separate ones or whether you would like to merge them or replace them with one another. In order to replace the styles and reduce the overall amount of them, we can go into the editing mode of the typography system, which will be created. And in here, we can not only give our generated styles distinctive names, but what we also can do is we can replace the styles with one another. For example, we can drag them on top of each other in order to replace them. And of course, I have taken into account that if you have to scroll really, really far down to replace something from, for example, one family to another, let's say this one, then we also have this autocomplete field in order to be able to really quickly select some font to replace this one with. So there we go. There are the results. And yeah, so I personally think that this very step here, the proper naming of the styles, might take the longest time, but as soon as you have done it, then let us say we are satisfied, or maybe I will show you one another thing, that if you want to name your generated text styles, right, then you have this little helper element here, which can help you jump between the nodes and see where they are. And this might give you a hint on how to name this particular style, so it is distinct from others based on its usage. So for now, let us assume that we have done this work and we have replaced styles we want with one another, and we are fine with this. We hit save. Then the next thing left to do is to apply our typography system to the document. And this is exactly where the magic will happen. So once again, let us see, we do not have any styles and variables, right? And all we do now is simply hit the apply button and get ourselves another coffee, because this process will take a bit longer than the scanning. According to my measurements so far, it was around 5 to 7 minutes each run. So let us hit apply now and see what happens with our AG Grid library document. And I will be right back. Alrighty. So there we are now, and our typography system has been created successfully. Let's check it out. So if we now see into our styles, then yes, a bunch of text styles have appeared. Apparently Figma is still working on saving the changes because we have a massive document which we have just set to use text styles. But if we take a look at the details, if we go into, for example, this text block, we can see that it has a text style applied. And if we check out that text style in particular, then we will also see that this text style is using its variables which it's supposed to use, and not only on the surface property window here, but also in its very depth. So for example, the paragraph spacing is set to a variable, and if we check out the details of a text style, then the paragraph indent as well. And this actually is applied to the whole document. So if we see into any text node of our document, we can see that it is using its appropriate text style we have set. If we check out our variables collection, then we also will see that a collection named typography has been created and added to the document. And this is exactly where all of our typography variables based on the text styles we have created are set. So for example, we have the different font weights and font sizes, as well as the paragraph indents and spacings if we have multiple. And so far I have programmed this to be always nested underneath the font family, because to me personally it makes sense that we want to use different sizes which are appropriate for a particular font scaling. Same counts for the other variables. If you're wondering about line spacing and what was the other one, the letter spacing, then I will make them variables in future as soon as Figma will support percentage variables, because setting this as hard-coded pixels right now does not benefit us in the long run. If we are about to change, for example, the font family, then these pixel values will not work as appropriately as percentages, which is why they are currently not set as variables. But apart from that, all what is required from you once again is to name the styles properly, maybe replace some of them with one another. And once you hit apply, then AG Grid library will be updated to use our styles. And I think the big advantage of this native features of Figma, like text styles and variables, are a fairly secure way in comparison to, for example, Token Studio, to deal with our styles and typography systems, just because Token Studio is an external dependency. while these are native features from Figma, and I guess we can rely on Figma's improvements in future and our benefit from those improvements once they add more features around these variables and text styles, just as they have added the typography variables recently. So yeah, that being said, that would be all from me for today, Mark, and I would be really happy if you give this plugin a shake. For now, I have a subscription fee of $3 per month, but you can, of course, also, because it's a native marketplace pricing I have chosen from Figma, try it for 1 week for free. And I personally guess it would be way enough to adjust AG-Grid to use text styles and variables if you like to, if you agree with me that this would be a good practice to do. And yeah, I would just be happy to have helped out my favorite grid library out there. And yeah, thank you so much for your attention, and I hope you will consider doing this. If not, then nevertheless, just thank you for your attention, and I would be happy to hear your feedback. Thank you very much, Mark. Bye-bye.